Hello everyone. Today we are going to start chapter 6 of ICSE standard 8 physics, heat transfer. Now, all of you know what is heat. Before we start, you have to understand what it really means, okay? Heat, as we know, it is what? It is a form of energy. All of us, we know this. All right? Energy, it has got many different forms, and out of all those forms, heat is just one type. All right? Energy, it may have many more forms like light energy, sound energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, and even heat energy. All right, so basically heat is a form of energy, and all of the energies in every form, they have same unit. All of them, they have the SI unit joule, denoted by capital J. So heat also, its SI unit is joules, denoted by capital J. All right. Now, how does heat transfer happens? The topic which we are going to start, the name of the chapter, heat transfer. How does it happen? All right. Basically, there are three different modes of heat transfer. That means heat can transfer from one body to another body. First one, you know, it is conduction, or second one is convection, and lastly the third one, all of you know, it is called radiation. So if heat is transferring from one form to another form, or from one body to another body, it will basically use one of these three methods or all of it. All right. So what is conduction? Conduction is the mode of heat transfer when the transfer of heat energy happens by the actual contact. Suppose you are having an iron rod, all right, and this side you are putting it to a flame. This end gets heated up and heat travels by means of free electrons, and it reaches to your hands. Actually, you are holding this rod, now you will get this heat. That hot rod will become hot throughout, and you will get that heat. So this method, by actual contact, you call it conduction. Second method, convection, is basically used in gases or in water. If you are boiling suppose water in a beaker, this is how you will put a burner. All right, what happens? Firstly, the water molecules which are in immediate contact to the base of the beaker, they will get hot first. As soon as they get hot, their energy increases, kinetic energy, and they will move away from this place like this. All right. So they are moving out like this, and this area there is a low pressure. To compensate that low pressure, cold water molecules from here will come and take its place, and this motion, it continues. This is convection. Same thing happens in cases of gas also. All right. Lastly, radiation. If I have to explain this, suppose if I ask you one question, how do you feel the heat of the sun? All right, are you actually touching the sun? No. There is a medium between sun and you? No. Then also you still feel the warmth of sun. You will say, sir, atmosphere is there between sun and us. So if I put you on top of a planet very close to sun in space, is there any atmosphere? No. But still you will feel the hotness of sun. So how is that heat transfer happening? That is happening through radiation without actual contact. So heat, you understood, heat is a form of energy. Many different forms of energies are there, and if you have to define energy, energy is what? The capacity or the ability to perform a work or do a work. Its SI unit is joules, and heat can transfer by means of conduction or convection or radiation. All right, it may seem very simple, but you try to answer this question first. Suppose I ask you, this is body A and there is another body B. Just now I told there are three methods by which heat can transfer. So can you tell me, in this case, heat will transfer from which body to which body? All right. Now you cannot tell me unless I state its temperature. Suppose this is 10 degree, this is 20 degree. So unless and until you have the temperature, you cannot tell which body is hot or which body is cold. So here if you compare both of them, this is hot and this is cold. So now you can define temperature. What is temperature? It is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. So these are the temperatures, and temperature you can define it as degree of hotness or coldness of body. Alright, so only if you are knowing the temperature you can determine which body is hot, which body is cold, and once you know that, you will be able to answer the question that heat will transfer from which body to which body. Always remember, heat always transfers from hot to cold body. Always it will travel from hot to cold body. So if this body is giving out heat to this one, this is losing heat energy. So I'll write here heat lost, and the body which is absorbing, the colder one will always absorb. So remember it. So in this case, here it will be heat absorbed. So this is how transfer of heat energy takes place. Now, in order to compare which body is hot or cold, always you will need these parameters. Alright, it is not necessary that body A will always be cold, because if I draw another body here, suppose body C, and if I label it as temperature 5 degree, alright, 5 degree Celsius. Now you tell me, this was cold, but compared to this body is hot. So here this is hot and this is cold. So in this case, the transfer of heat energy will be from 10 degree to 5 degree. This is losing heat and this is absorbing heat. Alright. Next topic which we have to do is effects of heat. Now there are 3 different effects you can see when heat is applied to a body. Alright. So one by one, let us go through that. First one, if you heat something, obviously there will be rise in temperature, or rise, you may also write fall in temperature. So heat, if it is drawn from an object, there will be fall in temperature. If you provide heat to an object, heat will rise. Second one, there will be change in state, and third effect would be change in size. Alright, so one by one let us discuss all 3. First effect which you know is rise in temperature. Suppose you have one object here, suppose in a beaker you are having water. Alright, you are having water, and using a matchstick, alright, using a matchstick you are trying to provide heat to it. Alright, and same quantity of water you take in another beaker. Suppose this was 100 grams and here also you take 100 grams. Alright, but this time you provide a big burner to it. Quantity of water is same, but the source of heat in each case is different. Only one matchstick you are using here, and here a big burner you are using. Alright, now can you tell me in which of the 2 cases, case 1 and case B, which case the rise in temperature will be more, the increment in temperature will be more? Obviously it has to be here, because the amount of heat which you are providing here is more. So first factor on which rise in temperature will depend, first factor is the amount of heat. So rise of temperature of a body will obviously depend upon the amount of temperature, amount of heat you are providing to it. Alright, second factor, suppose in same beaker you take 100 grams of sand. Suppose here you are placing sand. Alright, and another beaker again you are placing 100 grams of sand. Amount of sand is same, and this time the source of heat is same. So using same burner you are trying to heat it up. Alright, what will happen? Equal amount of rise in temperature will be there in both cases, but if you replace this sand here in one of the beaker, you replace it with water. Now you tell me, the amount of sand and amount of water is same, but their material is different, isn't it? In beaker A you are having sand, and here you are having water, and the amount of heat which you are giving is also same, but still you will see the sand gets heated up much more quickly and the rise in temperature will be greater here, but water, it will take more time to get heated up, and in that time also little bit of increment of heat will be there. All right, so it is totally depending upon the which type of substance you are heating, the material of the body. So second factor, it will depend upon the material of body. All right, now second one, the second effect of heat. What was that? Just now we did is the change of state. Second one was change of state. All of us, we know that if you are having ice which is solid, all right, if you heat it, it will melt and it will form water which is liquid. You heat it again, this water will boil and it will form what? Vapor. So these are what? Different states of matter: solids, liquids and gas. All right, so this is the second effect of heat. If you heat something, it can undergo a change in its state. All right, now how does it happen? Ice, which is solid, all of us, we know that solids, we represent it like this. The molecules inside are drawn like this, very closely packed. All right, something like this. And if you want to draw water, the molecules are a little bit far apart. All right, in case of vapor, much more far apart. All right, much more free. And you must have studied about the intermolecular force of attraction between each of the molecules. All right, which is strongest. That intermolecular force of attraction is strongest in solids and weakest in liquids. Now what happens when you heat something, when you provide heat to something, there is a gain in the kinetic energy of the molecules, and when they gain that energy, they start to vibrate about their mean positions. When they start to shake, vibration is there, they will try to break that intermolecular force of attraction. A time comes when they have sufficient energy to break that intermolecular force of attraction, and as soon as they break it, the molecules, they escape and they enter into the another state. But on entering another state, that intermolecular force of attraction is now weaker. You provide more heat, they will now break that leftover intermolecular force of attraction also, and again they will gain sufficient energy and they will escape into the another form. So this is how it happens. All right, but the important thing which you have to keep in mind, suppose ice you are having at minus 10 degrees Celsius, if you heat it, all right, if you heat it, the temperature will gradually rise. From 10 it will reach minus 9, minus 8, and slowly it will reach 0 degree Celsius, but it will still be in ice form. All right, now what happens if you continue to heat it? The ice melts and it forms water, and the water which is formed by the melted ice will also be at 0 degree Celsius, and this is where the change of state is happening. Change of state is happening here, and the point to remember is that when it was in solid, the temperature was same, and when it converted into water, the temperature is also the same. So whenever that change of state is happening, it is happening at a constant temperature. Understood? Same way, now you heat this water. The water is now at 0 degree Celsius. Remember, if you are heating it, temperature will rise from 0 to suppose 10 degree, 20 degree, and finally it will reach 100 degree Celsius. Now 100 degree Celsius is the melting point of water. All right. Again, if you provide heat, all right, it will convert and form into gas. All right. But the gas which is formed, it will also be at 100 degree Celsius. So here also, this process here till here is again your change of state, and as you can see, it is happening at a constant temperature, 100 degree Celsius. So point to be noted here, it happens at a constant temperature. Understood? Now, so what you call it, when ice converts into water, this process you call it as what? Melting. When water converts into vapor, you call it vaporization. And when vapor turns back into water, it is called condensation. And when water forms ice, the process is called freezing. Remember it. And when ice converts directly into vapor, what is this process called? When ice converts directly into vapor, this process is called sublimation. Alright, and when vapor converts directly into ice, the process is called solidification. No spaces here, but I will just erase and write. This is called solidification. Solidification. All right. Now we have to study in detail about the conversion of ice into water and water into vapor in so much detail. All right. First, we have to do conversion of water into vapor. Now, water can convert into vapor by two methods. First one is evaporation, and second one is called boiling. So this is very important topic. Next class we'll do it. Okay.